So I say to Belgian manufacturers, do not buy Africa's raw materials to add value elsewhere. Come and build with us. Process Kenyan minerals in Kenya and Africa, own clean power, and help Europe secure the supply chains it needs. Make it in Kenya, make it in Africa, make it clean, and sell in Europe and to the world. This is why, on the back of this roundtable, I will shortly officiate the launch of the Kenya-Benelux Chamber of Commerce, a permanent bridge between Kenyan enterprise and the markets, investors, and innovators of Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. I challenge everyone in this room and every firm that will join the chamber to two goals: double the number of Benelux companies operating in Kenya and help deliver that $1 billion in trade by 2030. Agribusiness and agro-processing, because Kenya grows around 40% of Europe's cut flowers, is the world's largest exporter of black tea and a leading avocado exporter. The next phase for the people sitting around this table is value addition: avocado, macadamia, horticulture, processed foods. I propose a Nairobi-Antwerp green produce corridor, a seamless cold chain from Kenyan farms to European shelves. Second is ports, logistics, and cold chain. The Port of Mombasa handled record volumes in 2025. I invite the Port of Antwerp and Belgium New Fruits Wharf to form a sister port partnership with Kenya Ports Authority on river handling and pre-cooling to cut post-harvest losses and raise competitiveness. Third, technology and digital economy. With Belgium's world-leading semiconductor ecosystem and our young digitally native talent, we can build a Consa-Leuven silicon bridge for cheap design skills. Odo launched its newest global platform from Nairobi, proof that world-class software is built in Kenya. We welcome partnerships in cloud, AI, and cybersecurity. Clean energy and the circular economy. More than 90% of Kenya's electricity is renewable, with geothermal alone accounting for almost 40%. I propose an elementator carbon removal cluster, scaling carbon removal on clean geothermal power, and we welcome Belgium leaders in recycling and urban mining to build a circular economy that creates jobs and creates opportunities. The strongest endorsement of Kenya is not what government says. It is what investors do. Bio, as you've heard, has invested in Kenya for over 25 years and counts Kenya among its largest exposures. Odo, again, chose Nairobi as its African headquarters. Ruto serves East Africa from Kenyan plant. Sirona built its first commercial-scale direct air capture site at Lake Elementaita. Close the Gap has opened a circular IT hub in Nairobi. The direction of travel is very clear to all of us. Which way? Yet trade between Kenya and Belgium remains modest. And when I say Belgium, I mean with the European Union. About $335 million in 2024. That does not reflect our potential. So let us set a clear ambition to triple it towards $1 billion by 2030. Africa is an opportunity, and Kenya is the gateway. If you establish in Kenya, you do not just enter into one country. You enter into a continent. Through the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, you invest and you enter into a market of 1.4 billion people with a GDP of $3.4 trillion. If you add EAC and COMESA, the European Union, and the United Kingdom, and Kenya's combined preferential market access exceeds US $70 trillion. Why do I say so? If you set up in Kenya, you not only access the African market, but because we have a signed economic partnership agreement with Europe, you equally access the European market.
We build our machines here today, but we go to the best places in the world to run our machines. And we need two things. We need renewable energy, but we also need CO2 storage potential. And actually, Kenya is one of the best places in the world to do so because of the massive renewable energy that you have, but also because of the Rift Valley, which has this thick basalt geology. We are the company who has the site next to Lake Elementaita at Sleeping Warrior Mountain. And actually, we're not the only ones. There's also a Kenyan company called Octavia Carbon that is also developing there. And we're very excited to be there. That's the first site that we have. We're already discussing with GDC of an expansion that would be in Menengai, so in the same region. And I'd like to thank actually PS Investment, Abu Bakar, who's been very helpful in creating those connections. We're actually expecting to sign an MOU with GDC today, which is very exciting for us. And I think overall, it's also a great opportunity for Kenya. As we mentioned, we need a lot of renewable energy, and today we will be able to plug into the existing resources, providing more revenues to GDC by consuming their brine on top of the steam that they already sell for geothermal energy. But overall, as we look to expand, we expect to be building more renewable energy in Kenya, which is great not only for us, but also great for universal access to energy to small businesses and communities all over Kenya. So I think it's a great opportunity, as you mentioned, where we can mutually benefit, us from the natural endowments of Kenya, and then at the same time, Kenya from the demand and industrial development.
Yes, and in the meanwhile, we have had the chairman of the Kenyan Ports Authority at our port, and also your namesake, Captain William Ruto, who is the CEO of KPA. Yes. Some things that resonate, what you said is that for us, Africa is indeed trade and not aid. And the volumes between Port of Antwerp and Bruges have been for decades more important between Africa than between the Far East. So that is definitely one thing. And then on the mutual and sovereign equality, in every partnership that we develop with African counterparts, that is essential. How can we build bridges between our two ports and strengthen each other and create together, co-create, co-develop port platforms that are attractive for private investments, that create level playing fields, that offer opportunities that will hopefully contribute to your sharp and aggressive KPIs of by 2030. But just to say, we are actively investing in Africa as well, in port infrastructure, in port superstructure, to realize these objectives. For instance, in Namibia, we are co-developing a port platform for Namibia's green industrialization. That's something you also mentioned, and we're open for that conversation with your government, with the counterparts. The relationships are already there, and looking forward to strengthen and deepen those relationships. Thank you.
My name is Dominic. I'm from Protex Healthcare. We're on the medical field. We're still dipping our toe in the water of Kenya to see what kind of temperature we're going to get. But we already have cooperation with Aga Khan Hospital and so on. So we're developing new kind of therapies inside Kenya. Now we're mostly on the west side of Africa, so now we're moving to the east side. I think your words and what you said of what should be announced will definitely help us to make faster decisions to move to Kenya. I definitely, with my second cap, I'm the president of CBLACP. That means it's the Belgian-Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce for Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific. And I would like to speak on that behalf because many Europeans have always been very slow regards to Africa. I think with Oliver, we already have made the first move. So we're dynamizing actually the association. We represent 130 companies inside Belgium and Luxembourg that are all mostly concerned in the fields of interest that you have defined. I'm also very happy to announce, if I may, that the very first MOU that will be signed by the Kenyan-Belgian Chamber of Commerce will be with CBLACP. So after this meeting, Mr. Oliver and myself will sign the first MOU for the cooperation. That means we will really dive deep in everything that has to do in mutual and long-term cooperation. You're in the field of managing a country. As you know, without any doubt, a first meeting is always a start. It's only by repeating and by really intensifying the contacts between the companies on both sides that you're going to make a difference. I'm also very happy that you talked about the past of the extraction cooperation. The future is no longer, if I may speak on my own behalf, is no longer in the west or in the east. The future is north-south. Europe has massive amount of technology. We have a lot of sense of cooperation. We know the word, definitely in Belgium, we know the meaning of the word compromise and cooperation because they have been invented here. So we really believe in a cooperation where added value, where jobs are created, because that is the future of Africa in general. If we don't succeed in doing that, then we remain stuck in the extraction industry, which is not going to help anybody. So we really, from the philosophy of CBLACP, we're really going to dig into that cooperation, really transferring knowledge, making sure that we can benefit from both sides. It's no longer cooperation, it's no longer single-sided. It has to be mutual, otherwise it won't last. We want it to last.
We've been working together with CS Kagwe on an industrialization program for Kenya's agriculture, value addition. So we're starting with tea, coffee, avocados. Tea, coffee is value addition, packaging, branding, exports with the issues with the Middle East, etc., helping find other markets. Avocados, in other words, we're looking at cold chain supply. And I've been talking to a number of people here, which is interesting. So what we've got is we're starting with a $250 million blended finance program. It's zero sovereign debt. We heard from CS Kagwe's office, they want this, Kenya would like this as, as a flagship for the World Bank's AgriConnect program. So we've already notified the World Bank of that intention as well. We're building a consortium already. We have African banks, Kenyan banks involved as well, a number of experts inside Kenya. The other element that you raised as well, which was really important, I remember you saying at the time in Mombasa, I want 60% of tea to be value addition. So this is an area that we're really, really focused on. It's specifically targeted at employment. So we're looking at between 20 and 30,000 direct jobs, 20,000 on top. We're looking at between 180 and $250 million in terms of additional revenue by 2031. So it's a long way towards your $1 billion. For those investors out there looking for an opportunity, this is a really golden opportunity. And I remembered our discussion we had last time. This fits exactly with your priorities. So thank you very much.
So therefore, I'm so pleased that I may here to know my colleagues, investors, and to develop some relationships to invest in the future in your country as well. I think we have a lot of expertise in the areas that you mentioned that we can help to collaborate together in the future and to learn about these countries. We are active in the country, Africa, but only in Senegal at the moment, and also in Lagos and some other development countries. So Kenya is more the east side, I'm more on the west side. So this was fantastic that Olivier asked me to be here and that I could represent my families, which are very well known in Belgium, to develop in future and that I can advise them in the future to invest in Kenya. Kenya as well.